Right, I'm going to give this a go. I don't know how long I'm going to stick at it, but basically, first of all, I'm just going to text my son to ask him not to come barging in when he comes back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some updates on the bike. I need to change the chain ring and a bottom bracket, and I'm gonna do this with a live audience. That'll be fun. If it goes blank at any point, it's a technical problem with that, not because I'm stuck on the bike, obviously. So just 1 second. Hold the line, caller. Any second. Right. Okay. So, first of all, the reason that I'm doing the upgrade is because my chains just started slipping a little bit. The chain ring is definitely getting a little bit worn. So, first of all, I just figured what we do is go through the chain subject. And what I'm going to do is just to kind of show you what I'm up to here. This is a park tool. Can you see that? Park tools. What do they call it? It's a CC 3.2. Has a very technical name for basically a chain ruler. So what you've got on here is I'm not used to this little camera. So you've got a 0.5 and a 0.75. I'll try and put notes in the thing later on. So what you've got is a 0.5 and a 0.75, and basically you use this to measure how much your chain has worn. And you're not going to be able to see this from over there, but basically you put the hook end here against one of the chain links, and yeah, you put the hook end here against the chain link, and then you slide this end in and out, and depending on which end actually goes into the chain will depend on whether you need to change it or not. And Park Tools have got pretty good video which explains how you can get away with different amounts of chain wear on different types of chain, different types of cassette, different numbers of cassette, if you like. So if you're only running by like a one by one setup, like on a BMX or something, you're okay to have a slightly more stretched chain, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think you can. So what I'm about to do is I'm just going to give this a measure, and I know that if this is more than half worn on my 11 speed, then ideally I need to be changing it. So I might see if I can move the laptop a bit closer just to see. Just a second. Probably not going to be able to see this, but this is going to sit in to the back there and then slide like so. Now that's the 0.5, which means the chain is stretched by 0.5%. If I put it the other way, that doesn't go in, so that means it hasn't worn, sorry, not stretched, it hasn't worn by 0.75. If it had got to that level, I'd definitely be looking to change this, and I could potentially have been doing some damage to the cassette. So it's on a 0.5, which means it's about time to change this. So I'm just going to get this chain out and then do some of the other things. So we're going to get the chain off first. So those of you that have tried to undo quick links with your fingers will have probably blistered them and whatnot plenty of times, but this is a little sort of chain pliers, and it just makes this job so much easier. We can find it. Why can't I find the link? This is the point where I say I'm having a technical problem and just cut the stream off. Shows how dirty my chain was, really. So this, you just put either side of the split link and give it a squeeze. Boom, just like that. I'm not sure you need an extreme close-up of this, but basically what you've got here is this goes either side of the split link like so, and very good investment. So there we go, there's a chain. We're going to put that aside for a bit because obviously the chain's going to go on last. I've now got to change a chain ring and a bottom bracket, so let's get on with that, shall we? I don't know if anybody's actually watching and commenting on this, but I can't see the comments. Let's have a look on my... Anyone there? Why am I typing? You can hear me. What an idiot. Right. So let's get the chain ring and the bottom bracket off. So this is an FSA chain ring and FSA crankset, and if you'd watched my previous video, it means that I needed to get a specific tool to fit these. So I'll come on to that in a sec. So I have already pre-loosened this just because I made sure I was turning it the right way. Don't want to make a fool of myself live on the internet. Not tonight, anyway. So, you'll probably see on this, it's got some different fittings. So this doesn't just slide off or screw off like on some others. It needs a specific tool from Park Tool. So this is the LRT3. I'm trying to read that backwards then. And it's, as it says on your sort of specialized Cannondale and FSA. So here we go, live unboxing. I like an unboxing. Could have done with a knife though. Not enough shredded wheat. So this is going to go on there, and I need to turn this to get that off. This was an absolute pain in the backside to get. This crouching over too much. So this little tool here was 30 quid, and they had none in stock anywhere in the UK. I ended up buying it from Worldwide Cyclery, and believe it or not, this is taking a month to arrive. So this bike's had very little use over the last month while I've been trying to not wear out the cassette and components any more than necessary. So we just need to get this off now. So that means getting a big spanner. There we go. Now, this is the point where I probably should have read the instructions and figured out which way that needs to turn. Perhaps go make a cup of tea or something at this point while I try and figure this bit out. Also tearing my fingers to shreds on the DMR pedal pins. There we go. Right, come on. Let's have a look. We might end this live stream any second now, because I don't think this is coming off. So the problem here is these little teeth, whatever, and this little bit on here, it's not very deep to grab hold of it. So that's not a lot of fun, if I'm honest. I might have to look, I might be turning this the wrong way, who knows. A lot of these crank and pedal based things tend to spin the opposite way to the way that you want them to sometimes. So maybe that's why I'm having a problem here, who knows. Google is your friend, and I should have Googled this, but oh my god, it doesn't want to stay in place. Right, it's moving, but it's moving the wrong way. So I'm not filming this. I'm down on the floor here somewhere. Have a look. Let's move back a bit. Here we go. I'm expecting all the comments later to tell me what a shoddy job I've done here. But I can tell you now, this don't want to come off. Getting a hammer in a second. That'll be fun. Right, come on. It's just sliding off. Right, we might have to halt proceedings while I go and Google something. Right. I'll be back. I could always look on the back of the manual, the back of the thing, couldn't I? Except handily, it's stuck a price tag over the instructions. So what, we'll take a seat and open a beer. Cheers. Right, what does it say? It's not helpful at all. It's just telling me how big it is. I know how big it is. It's in my hand. Definitely lefty loosey. Don't want to work though. Let's make sure we've got that all in space. Right. Okay. Here's the mistake I was making. This little notch. I wasn't quite lining these up, so as you can see there, probably that needs to go in to that little notch, and I was sitting it outside of it. There we go. So hopefully it's going to come off a bit easier now. Tell you what though, it is very fiddly. Oh my god, it's just not deep enough. If you're still with me, put a comment, please. Come on. Where's the live chat? Pop out. Nah, no one's there. I don't know why I bother. Well, I'll enjoy watching it back myself anyway. I'm sure. And then you can skip over this bit. I should have timed it to see how long this faffing was taking. I am so conscious. Magic! Right. Whew. Here we go. Right. So this bit comes off, and now I can remove the chainring. Let's give that a little bit of a clean. Make sure I don't lose any washers or spacers or anything. So there's one sort of spacer on here. I don't know if that's specific to the makeup of this bike and the boost setting or anything, but obviously you've got to make sure that that goes back on in the same place. Right, let's have a look. Try to see if there's any specific way this has to go back on. Assuming it'll just locate when it wants to. This crouching down is killing my legs. I'm going to sit on my little bag here. So I think looking. There ain't nothing obvious. There we go. Ah, right, okay. This is a poor light. You can probably see two flat spaces there if I show that against my arm. And there's two gaps on this. This is just the poor lighting in my shed. I couldn't see a thing then. So there we go, we're on. Pop the little lock ring back in place. He says, very fine thread, believe it or not. So now we get the magic tool that we've waited a month for almost. Pinch it up to start with. Just for the record, I'm just going to put this all together sort of loosely. Don't know if there's any torque settings on this or not. I didn't notice any on the settings here. On the no, there's no torque settings that I can see. Oh, here we go. 4 Newton meters. Now, problem is I haven't got a torque wrench that will fit over that, so that'll fit on this and allow me to do it. So we'll just have to do it by hand, I'm afraid. Anybody got any tips on doing torque settings by hand? I don't know what it actually should be, but have a look here. Give it nearly as much effort as it took to take off, I guess. These tiny little holes for these teeth are just absolutely a nightmare. It just slips out so easily. Right, righty-tighty, here we go. Are we in? We're on. Man, it's like you want to clamp it in between something before you do this. It's such a pain. Watching the fingers on the chainring. I'm happy with that. So we have one new 32 tooth Megatooth chainring on. Right, we'll come back to that in a minute because we need to get the bottom bracket out now. This is the bit where I absolutely expect to be filled with dread as I show you how terrible my skills are at removing this kind of stuff. Right, there's an extra spacer there that goes on the inside of the chainring. Put that in there somehow. There you go. So there's an extra spacer that just went over the crank axle there. Thank goodness I didn't have to use a hammer. That would have been embarrassing. So that's quite good. So, right. Here we go. This is the bit that I will always get wrong. First time Friday, Wednesday. So if you're going to turn this side that way, the other side also goes the same way because they're opposite threaded if you've never taken a bottom bracket off before. So the last bottom brackets I changed was on a steel framed bike, and yeah, they were a bit messy inside. So it's quite nice to have a little bit cleaner inside. So oh, yes, definitely time to go. Right, so this is pretty standard Shimano. I'm talking, but I don't know if anybody's listening. So I'm just going to keep talking. There we go. Like I said, I haven't done it for a while, but they're pretty straightforward. What's that one? Do not disassemble. Look. Left, right, of course. Right, what sort of spacers have we got? We got one. So we got one. What that is, 2mm spacer, I think it is, on the drive side. Are they 2mm? I don't know what size these things are. But there's only the one on there, which is good. Plenty in there. I'll do. One spacer. Grease, obviously. Get some of this and smear it on. Let's give it a little bit of a clean up there first. Four people watching. Go on. What's the time? Where's my phone gone? 8:30. Come on, it's 4 people watching. You've got nothing better. Is EastEnders not on or something? This isn't interesting, surely. Let's move the stand away. Live television. Right. So, giving that a bit of a clean out. Got a bit of grease on the thread. I know a lot of people wear gloves. I just don't like wearing gloves doing stuff like this. I just rather wash my hands after. Quick shout out to Justin, Casual Mountain Biker. If you were watching, which you're probably not, but Justin convinced me to do this live. So cheers, Justin. I would have put some music on normally while I was in the shed doing stuff like this, but one day my channel might be monetized and somebody might end up watching this back and I might lose a few pennies if my music doesn't allow it. Thinking ahead, I am. Definitely thinking ahead here. So just about finished greasing the threads on these. Just about run out of grease as well. What grease do you use on your stuff? This stuff I've had for years. It's some sort of finish line Teflon. I don't know. Right, let's pop these back in. Obviously, I'm going to rotate them the opposite way now. That's the way threads work. Making sure not to cross thread any of them. That's a bit of a... The non-drive side's definitely going in a bit easier. Don't know what's happening to this side here. Let's have a... There we go, it's better. Have a sip of beer actually, why not? Before it goes warm. Where are we? There we are. I do like standards. It's nice when something's easy, like a bottom bracket. The chainring, as I said, leaves a lot to be desired. I could have changed it for something more standard, but that would have meant changing the crank set as well. So, yeah, that's too much at this point. So, how much have I spent on these upgrades? Let's have a think about it. So, chainring, I think, was about... God, I should know. Call it 30 quid for the chainring. Bottom bracket, you know how much these are, probably somewhere between 15 and 20. And a chain, the KMC chain, is another sort of 20 quid. So not a huge amount of money. Most expensive item was that pain in the backside tool to get the chainring off. Excuse me, I'll be back in a second. Over here. I wish somebody would invent a tool that you could do full rotations on these, because obviously the chain stays just get in the way. It'd be quite nice if you could do a full rotation sometimes. Am I asking too much? probably. Right, bottom bracket back in place. Good. Oh, that was a bit loud. Right. Let's move the rubbish to the side. So we've what have we done? We've measured the chain and established that we need a new chain. We knew that. We've taken the slightly crunchy bottom bracket off and removed the definitely worn chainring. There's one or two teeth that I smashed on there at some point as well, so that was definitely time to go. Before I do go any further, though, these Megatooth from FSA, I haven't dropped a chain on that bike without a chain guide in 18 months of riding. I don't know how many hundreds of miles I've done, but I haven't dropped a chain once. These Megatooths, Megateeth, whatever. These are great. 2 people watching now, so 2 of you got bored. It is half an hour. It's a bit much, really, isn't it? I'm not surprised, really. Maybe somebody will tune in later. I should have been videoing this, and then I could have made some little, I don't know, some little demo videos that people could have looked at, but whatever. We shall see. If you are there, I'm going to have a look. I don't know if I can see if anybody's talking. Is anybody actually going to say anything to me? Come on. Can't see the live stream. Come on, someone, say something. No? You know, when I'm as big as Pinned or GMTV, GMBN, you'll want to talk to me then. It's important to remember people on the way up, not just when they're up. Come on. Bit of love. Can I see? Let me have 1 second. Maybe you're talking to me and I can't see it. Who knows? Let's have a quick look. Live stream now. There we go. There's 2 people watching. Live stream now. Ooh. There we go. There's 2 people watching. Live stream now. There we go. There's 2 people. No comments. Right. Anyway, so let's pop the pedals back on and we'll sort the chain out. This is now officially the longest video I've ever made as well. Even though it's a live stream, I've never made a video this long before. It's quite easy just pointing the camera and talking and fiddling with the bike. I think I need some more grease. Some, here we are, green oil, eco grease. This is quite good. Got a few tubs of this actually. There we go. So just a little bit of grease on the inside of where the pedals are going to hit the BB. Get that on the other side first. Oops. What's going on here then? Excuse the noise. We haven't got some other blooming special size, have we? No way. That should go. That should go. I was told it was a standard size. It should be a standard size. Who's there? Hope your beer's still cold. Michael? Yes, it is, actually. Cheers, mate. I'm getting a bit sweaty now, though, because I was wondering whether this is actually going to fit here. I'm not sure. Why? There we go. Don't you hate it when bottom brackets don't go inside like that? Let's have a look. I'm going to get rid of my stand, I think. This is a bit I'm going to hate now because I'm going to start making a noise and people out there are going to hate me. So let's try and get this on without making too much noise. So I need to come through a little bit. Give that a bit of a tap. Come on. Feel free to scream and shout at me while I do something a little bit more heavy-handed here. And you're coming through, you sod. I actually don't think this is the right bottom bracket. Yes, Phil, I think I'm going to do that. It's very tight. I don't know where my mallet is. In my tent bag, I think. Snug as a bug. Right. Now, a little bit more grease where this little jobby's going to go. Just try and get this lined up. A satisfying feeling of the threads going in. There we go. Nurse. I'll check the torque settings later. Let's just get this on at the moment. Nice. Okay, so you probably can't hear that. It's pigeons on the roof. 39 minutes. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Right, so we've done the bottom bracket. We've done the chain ring. Now, it's time for the chain. So, let's get the KMC chain out. Oh, is there nothing more satisfying, honestly, than a fresh chain on a bike? I just think it's amazing. It's that one part of the bike that I just always struggle to get as shiny and clean. Hello? Let's get the come on, chain. I'm just going to put this on very quickly because I've just noticed how filthy these jockey wheels are. So there we go. Anyway, all I've got to do is just quickly get that chain to the right length, and yeah, I just need to get that chain to the right length and stick it on. So I'm not going to do that now because I do need to go and clean this jockey wheels because they're absolutely minging. So anyway, if you have watched this all the way through, which I bet you haven't, then kudos to you. Thank you very much. I'm still not 100% convinced about that bottom bracket. That was a very, very snug fit. So might be having a little read up in a moment, but that was super snug. But I can't believe that it wasn't the right size. So always worries me, bottom brackets. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, cheers. I shall probably do some follow-up videos, just talking through some of these bits at some point with a little bit more detail. And in the meantime, thank you very much. Don't forget to leave some comments, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you in another video at some point soon. Thank you very much. And you find the button to end the stream.